I had 10 pages, I'll cut it down to 2. Good evening. On behalf of the Bayless family, I want to give thanks and honor to our God and welcome everyone for attending this very special occasion. In particular, I want to give special acknowledgement to who we refer to as the Commander-in-Chief of the Bayless family, my 96-year-old young mother, Corrine Bayless. By the way, the Commander-in-Chief gave me marching orders before I said anything else to inform everyone in attendance that she raised her sons from a strong Baptist background. I am indeed honored and proud to introduce my twin brother, Kenny Bayless, as the first active boxing referee to be introduced into the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame. Just to think that back in 1972 at Cal State University Hayward, Kenny and I were members of the mile relay team that ran and set an NCAA Division II world record as a non-scholarship school. Immediately following his graduation from Cal State Hayward, Kenny moved to Las Vegas to embark on a teaching career in the Clark County School District. Then Kenny was able to witness his athletic idol Muhammad Ali versus Joe Buckner in 1973. When I moved to Las Vegas in 1975, I also joined the teaching ranks with the school district, and soon after we both hooked up with Johnny Lehman, who worked with the Nevada State Athletic Commission as an inspector. Kenny and I assisted Johnny retrieving boxing gloves from the red and blue corner at the end of each fight. Colonel Ed Brown strongly encouraged Kenny and me to get more involved and get experience in amateur boxing so we could work our way into the boxing ranks. In 1985, I moved back to California and later got employed as a teacher in the Open School District, and in 1991 became a judge with the California State Athletic Commission. Kenny remained in Las Vegas and continued teaching physical education and also his work in the amateur boxing program, and then in 1984 was employed as a ring inspector with the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Although Kenny refereed most of the women's bouts back in the day, his first big pay-per-view bout was between Oscar De La Hoya and Bernard Hopkins back in 2004, which he was flawless. Kenny has overcome many obstacles to be where he is today, including a bout with cancer in 2003. He has always conducted himself as a gentleman and a professional, both in and out the ring. I can almost say that about myself, but I'm not in the ring. I want to personally thank my twin brother for making me a celebrity in the state of California. Every bout I work as a judge in California, I am certainly bombarded with females wanting to take pictures with me. Kenny Bayless, I want to understand now, I want to take, the ladies want to take pictures with me, guys want to get autographs, the whole bit. Also, boxing fans adore him because they continually demonstrate their appreciation of his work based on the fact that they swarm all over him, and he always accommodates every one of them who makes pictures and autograph requests. Kenny, keep up the good work. I am proud to introduce the first active boxing referee into Nevada State Boxing team, Kenny Bayless. But I think I am still a little bit of lucky inconvenience. Giving thanks first to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who gives me the strength to do all things. I thank Chris Bullock, the founder and the president of the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame, to Michelle Corrales-Lewis, vice president, and to the board of directors for bestowing this honor on me. And congratulations to all the fellow inductees. I want to spend a few minutes I have giving thanks to all the people who have made my journey to this podium possible. No one accomplishes anything important in life without a team behind them. I started by thanking Muhammad Ali, who first captured my interest in boxing while watching him as a young man. And in a parallel universe, Ali captured the heart of a pretty young woman who I met years later at a fight, my wife of 31 years, Kenny Bayless. So thank you, Ali. I'd next like to thank Jimmy Winston for providing me with 2 tickets to the Ali Butler fight in 1973. Or my cousin Eugene Van Dyke and I would have been experiencing it from the Vegas Convention Center out in the parking lot. It was my first time I'd ever seen Ali live, and ultimately the moment that defined my desire to be a part of the sport of boxing. I got my start in the Golden Gloves program as an amateur judge. After several years of judging, a new friend named Jerry Rolfe suggested that I try refereeing. He said, "You are young, good looking, and in shape." And I thought, why not? I asked Richard Steele if he would train me. He took me to Hal Miller's Golden Gloves gym. Richard got 2 fighters in the ring to spar. After a couple of rounds, one fighter started bleeding over his right eye. Richard stopped the sparring match and asked me, "What happened?" I didn't know. In that moment, I clearly understood the important role of a referee. Thank you, Richard, my mentor, and Jerry Ross. As I worked my way up as an amateur referee, my friend Johnny Lee would help me get appointed as an inspector with the Nevada Athletic Commission. This gave me access to watch Richard Steele, along with Bill Flames, Davey Pearl, Carlos Padilla, Joey Curtis, and Toby Gibson. In the ring as well as in the dressing rooms, giving instructions to the fighters. After 10 years of amateur refereeing, I felt well prepared for the appointment as a professional referee. But it didn't happen at first. I waited and waited and waited and waited. It was heartbreaking and devastating. In 1991, I finally at the point of going for broke and prepared a letter to the Nevada Athletic Commission to express my frustration. Luckily, my diplomatic wife took the letter and managed to appear to the commission. Sense of fairness, and it was granted. I was granted a hearing. Thank you, honey. Before my hearing, Mark Ratner took me aside, coached me on what to say, and ended me. Thank you, Mark. I was finally appointed as a referee, and my professional journey began. But there would be more hurdles for me to overcome. At this time, the heavyweight division was going be a part of it. As fate would have it, an experienced and talented referee named Joe Cortez moved to Las Vegas, and with his arrival, there was plenty of experienced referees to choose from. Nothing was coming my way. I was hungry for the big fights, but I was not getting fed. Eventually, my frustration built to the point that I wanted to go back to either being an inspector or just quitting. I had many conversations that helped me hang in there. Conversations with Luther Mack, Richard Steele, Joe Cortez, Patricia Darman, and Dick Rackledge. Mark Redmond said to me, "Kenny, be patient. Your time will come." My wife often mentioned that no matter what the assignments were, I had the best seat in the house to my favorite sport. Thank you all you guys. In 2004, 4 months after successful cancer surgery, I got a call from the commission office that I had been assigned the Oscar De La Hoya Bernard Hopkins fight. I thank Mark Ratner because I know he took a lot of heat from the media for giving me that assignment. The rest is history. The past 10 years have been truly magical for me. I've been blessed, and I've been blessed to officiate over 100 world title fights. I want to thank all my fellow referees, Dick Rackledge, Robert Bird, Tony Weeks, Russell Mora, and Jay Davey. I feel we are the best team of referees in the business, and beyond that, a brotherhood of true friends. We work very hard to get better at what we do. We even reach out outside Nevada to help visiting referees like Jerron White from California, who's here today. I also want to thank all my courageous fighters that I have entered the ring with. Their dedication and heart inspires us all. Most importantly, I want to thank all my family here today, starting with my mother, 96 years old, Kenny Bayless, my twin brother, my loving wife, Lenore, my 3 sons, James, Ryan, and Alex, my nephew, Charles Bayless, my band of cousins who have always supported me, Clarence, Lamont, and Larry. And finally, my adopted Canadian friends, Victoria Matchbank and Eric Smith. This night means so much to me because you're all here to share it. Last but not least, thank you to everyone here tonight to support all the inductees. God bless you all.
Kenny finishes just in time. He's got to have that coat back by 10:30. Going to take another moment for a special presentation. Here to make that presentation, the WBC, Chuck Williams. Chuck.
Thank you, Barry. Appreciate it. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You know, it's first of all my great honor to be able to make this presentation.
Thank you, John. I was born and raised in Berkeley, California. Lived there all the way up until I graduated from college. As I was growing up, I had an interest in boxing because of the great Muhammad Ali. He used to be on Wide World of Sports, and I used to try to catch whenever he fought. The thing that attracted it to me is the fact that he was able to talk and predict a knockout and make the prediction come true. So that's how I initially got started and got interested in the sport of boxing. But while I was growing up in the Bay Area, I was into sports. Believe it or not, I played tennis when I was in high school, varsity, for 3 years. And then when I went to college, I got interested in running track because of my twin brother. He had ran track in high school. So I kind of jumped on board and really didn't know how fast I was at the time, but was able to, in what they used to say, put them up and put them down pretty fast. And me and my brother set a few records while we were at Cal State University of Hayward. I got the opportunity to come to Las Vegas because they were hurting for African American teachers. My assistant track coach happened to know the recruiter, and he asked me one day as I was in the phys ed complex, would I be willing to go to Las Vegas and teach school? Well, at the time I didn't have anything going on, so I said, yeah, I'll go. And, went to a couple of seminars, filled out the paperwork, and when I graduated from Cal State Hayward, I ended up going to Las Vegas. Now, the amazing thing for me, once I got to Las Vegas, is within that next year, Muhammad Ali happened to come to Las Vegas, and he was fighting a guy by the name of Joe Bugner. And I was excited because I'd only watched Ali on television. So I went to the fight with my cousin, could not afford it. We were standing out in front of the convention center, just soaking up the atmosphere, when a very close friend of mine happened to come to Las Vegas for the fight. And when I saw him, I was shocked to see him. He was shocked to see me. So he asked me, what are you doing here, Kenny? And I said, well, I live here now. And then his next question was, do you have a ticket? And that was magical to me. And I said, no, I don't. And he pulled out a ticket for me and my cousin. And 15 minutes later, we were in the arena, my heart pumping, the adrenaline flowing, and witnessed my first Muhammad Ali fight. While I was sitting there in the arena, all pumped up, at that point in time, I knew I wanted to get involved with the sport of boxing. I didn't know what at the time, but I knew I wanted to be involved in the sport. And at that time, I decided to first get involved as a judge. Now, there was a teacher friend of mine that knew a guy that used to work for the Athletic Commission. His name was Johnny Lehman. Johnny Lehman worked for the Athletic Commission and also worked for the promoters. And me and my twin brother Kermit started working with him as an assistant just so that we could get a credential to get into the fights. And Johnny was a bit up there in age, and he didn't mind it because we were able to do a lot of the footwork that he didn't have to worry about. Like going to the dressing rooms, giving the fighters their spit buckets and their gloves, the gloves that they were going to be wearing that night for the fight. And at the end of the fight, we would climb in the ring and get the gloves off the fighters. So it was something for us to do that we was excited to do. And many times Johnny Lehman would want to, kick us down a few bucks. And we didn't care about the bucks. We was just excited to get into the fight and just be a part of it. At that point in time, I decided about wanting to be a judge. I'd gotten to know a few of the judges at ringside. So my attitude was, hey, try to be a judge. So the next thing I did was to seek out how to get involved into the amateur program. After I seeked that information out and started going to the amateur program, my twin brother Kermit started going to the amateur programs as well. So we both were going to the amateur program, learning how to be a judge. And I had been judging for maybe 3 or 4 years. And basically what I would do was score the fight as an amateur. And then when I went to the professional fights, I would score the fight and I would compare my score with one of the professional judges. And then one of the professional judges looked at me and he says, Kenny, you're in pretty good shape. Why don't you try being a referee? And my first thought was, no, I don't want to get in there. I don't want to referee. And then I thought about it and I said to myself, well, why not give it a try? So the very first person I asked about being a referee or training me to be a referee was Richard Green. Richard Green had just refereed the Boom Boom Mancini Dooku Kim fight. And for those that remember, it was at Caesar's Palace. It was during the summer months. The temperature was hot. It was a great fight. After the fight, Dooku Kim passed. He took too many punches, with experience of cerebral hematoma, and passed. And me and my brother happened to be in the ring after the fight collecting the gloves. My brother collected the gloves from Dooku Kim. I collected the gloves from Boom Boom Mancini. But anyway, Richard Green refereed the fight. I asked him would he train me. He agreed, but it was just a few months later he had passed away. Then I focused and I asked Richard Steele if he would train me to be a referee. Richard agreed. Richard took me to Hal Miller's gym, which is over off of Washington, got me in the ring, started teaching me the art of refereeing. It really kind of worked out in my favor in reference to where I was teaching school, because I was just engulfed with wanting to become a referee. And during my lunchtime, my lunch break and my preparation break were back to back, so I had an hour and a half time for lunch. And what I would do was at my lunchtime, I'd drive up to Top Rank. I would get in the gym when there were fighters sparring, and I'd get 4, 5, 6 rounds of just practical experience and go back to work and finish my workday. So I was getting the advantage of getting in the ring as an amateur referee, as well as getting in the ring with professionals. Some of those professionals were Trevor Berbick. There were a lot of fighters that I was able to back then get in the ring with. So anyway, I had the best of both worlds. And I had the best of both worlds because when Johnny Lehman was ready to retire as an inspector, he put my name in with the athletic commission to take his spot. And the athletic commission did so. So now I really had it good, because now I'm able to go into the dressing rooms, listen to Richard Steele, Mills Lane, Carlos Padilla, Joey Curtis, Toby Gibson, see these guys in the ring, behind the scenes, and I was able to learn. And that was the key thing for me. I was able to learn, and I stayed and worked with my trade until I was finally appointed in 1991. and and I'll admit it wasn't easy. There was some struggles for me, but I was able to overcome them with the grace of the Lord, and I got put on, and now the transition for me was, as an amateur referee, I was the top amateur referee in the state of Nevada. Now starting out as a professional referee, it's like I'm starting all over again because I'm like the low man on the totem pole. So anyway, I stuck with it because, like I said, I was around I felt some of the best referees on the planet. After I got appointed, later came Joe Cortez, which I felt was one of the top referees in the country. Well, with working with those guys and studying the art of refereeing was a real good position for me to be in here in Las Vegas, Nevada. So anyway, I just stuck with it. Again, there was some hard times for me because at the pace that I wanted to move at was not the pace that the commission was moving me at. So there were times I was very frustrated, but the bottom line was that I just had to hang in there. There were times I was thinking of either quitting as a referee and wanting to go back as an inspector, or just quitting entirely because I wasn't getting the big marquee fights. In the 90s, Mike Tyson's name was big. I was hoping to get a Mike Tyson fight, and it never happened. So I remember going out and to dinner after a fight, which took place at the Aladdin Hotel with some of my official friends, and back then I was still a bit bitter and complaining as to why I wasn't getting any of the big fights. And one of the judges that happened to be there that night said to me, Kenny, there is nothing we can do about fight assignments. The only thing for you to do is to just put it in the hands of the Lord. And as much as I should have responded to that, because that wasn't the first time I heard it. I had heard it many times, but I was just so driven to want to get that big super fight that it would just go in one ear and go right out the other. But when she said it, it was like, I got it. And from that point on, I didn't worry about the big fights anymore. I started focusing more in on my skills and what I needed to do so that when the call came, I was ready. And after that night, I left it alone. But there were other struggles that came along. And the other struggles that I am referring to was, I did a fight at the Orleans Hotel. It was, we call them little club fights. And the fight that I did, fighter A hit fighter B, and fighter B went down so hard that when his back hit the canvas, his head hit the canvas as well. And I didn't even count. I knew this guy was seriously hurt. And the doctors got in and did medically what they could do and rushed him to the hospital. Well, ultimately what happened was the fighter had experienced a cerebral hematoma. There was bleeding of the brain. They did surgery on the fighter to stop the bleeding, and when they stitched and sewed him back up, the bleeding started again and he passed away. At that particular time, emotionally, it broke me down. I didn't know if I wanted to continue refereeing. I was devastated that a fighter had passed. But in our sport, those things happen. Um, the blessing that I got was that my fellow colleagues were calling me up, and I needed it. The executive director, Mark Ratner, called me up to console me like the other officials, but Mark Ratner also said to me, Kenny, be prepared because of the next fight card, you're going to work it. And I knew at that point I had to get it together. And I knew I had to get it together because I was going to be under the microscope now. They were going to see how well I'm able to handle what had happened in the ring to me. So everything worked out. I thank the Lord again because my work was good that night, that the Mark Ratner and the commissioners didn't think that that would be a problem for me in the future, in future fights. So I had gotten that one behind me. Then the next thing that came along that was another challenge for me was when I got diagnosed with cancer. And it was kind of like another blow. But this blow was like a knockout blow. I didn't know what was going to happen to me. At that time, after I got the call that I had cancer, I didn't know, I mean, you're talking about living or dying now. You don't know what the outcome's going to be. Again, I had to call on the Lord. I had to put my faith and my trust in Him. My wife is a wellness coach and health educator. And my wife kept saying to me, you're going to beat it. You're going to beat it. And at that point, I changed my diet. I started eating a more healthier diet. And I had gotten a naturopath doctor, and I was doing things with him. And I did not tell Mark Ratner or any official up till then that I had been diagnosed with cancer, because ultimately what I wanted to do was beat it. My doctor was sending me registered letters telling me that if I didn't come in and get this problem taken care of, that I could die. And I went 10 months without contacting my doctor, just basically eating healthier. And when I went back and saw my general practitioner, and he tested me, you go in and you get blood work and they test it, and everything was looking better. He sent me to another specialist, and the specialist did his test on me, and he said, Kenny, your body is healthier, but the cancer is still there. And the cancer was in my prostate. So at that point in time, I decided to just have my prostate removed. Because if the cancer gets outside of the prostate, it can attack the lymph nodes and spread. And emotionally, I just wanted it out. So I had the surgery. After the surgery, the doctor announced to me that though my prostate was cancerous, my prostate was healthy, which was a good thing, because then the cancer could not spread, which taught me something. Cancer will spread in an unhealthy environment, but because I was eating healthy, it did not spread. It kept it inside the cancer wall. So anyway, I had some rehab to go through. I thank Robert Bird, one of my fellow referees, because he took me to the gym. I started working out in the ring to get my movement, my timing back, and I'm glad I did, because 4 months after my surgery, I had my surgery in May, and in September, I got the call to referee the Oscar De La Hoya Bernard Hopkins fight, and I thank Mark Ratner for that assignment, because the media was kind of attacking him because they felt that they should have gave that fight to another referee as opposed to me. And I remember Mark Ratner being interviewed by one of the sports announcers that it's Kenny Bayless's time and he'll do well. It's basically what Mark's response was to them. And in that fight, I did a great job. And from that fight, my status, went to another level. And for the last 10 years, I've done some of the major top fights in Las Vegas, fights like Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya. And at the time I did that fight, that was the highest grossing fight in boxing history. And then last year I did Mayweather, Canelo Alvarez, and that became the highest boxing match in boxing history. But Manny Pacquiao against Sugar Shane Mosley, Ricky Hatton, Juan Manuel Marquez. I've done all those fights. Mayweather when he fought Shane Mosley. So I've done a lot of major fights over the years, and I'm just truly blessed and thankful. And I guess the icing on the cake for me is just this past Saturday being inducted into the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame. With all I've been through in my career, and then to get the major fights that I've gotten, and then getting inducted into the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame, is just, I thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for it. I go in as the first active official into the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame, and I'm just truly thankful and blessed for it. People have asked me how many more years I got left as a referee, and I can't even answer it. As long as my health is there and I'm making the right call and the right decision, then I'll be there. When any of those things don't meet my satisfaction, then I guess that will be the time that I'll retire. But as of now, I feel that everything is good. I'm still going strong, and we'll just make that decision when I cross that bridge. But I want to thank John for this opportunity to speak with you, and I just want to say God bless and good night.